Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching this video live, feel free to make comments, ask any questions you want. We're here to help you out. If you're watching this afterwards, also feel free to drop some comments, we'll drop some questions. We're happy to answer. So, today we have a fantastic topic, which is how to unleash your confidence as a person and entrepreneur. We have Christine with us. She is our expert bookkeeping and business consultant. So if you have any needs for your business, feel free to reach out to her. She's an amazing person and she loves what she does. So that gives you the reassurance that everything will be done right. Tori, our famous virtual assistant, getting front pages that I didn't know until before this live. So again, fantastic person, amazing writer, and so dedicated with everything she does. And last but not least, Marcia Amaro, who's actually going to be leading today's topic. She is our self leadership coach, and she has a lot of wisdom to impart to us today. So, thank you, all of you. Good morning. And Marcia, let's take the floor.
Awesome. I am so excited about our conversation today because it is the number one question I get asked by potential clients and clients alike. And it is, how do I build my confidence? How can I be more confident so that I can fill in the blank, right? More confidence so that I can start the business, more confidence so that I can ask the girl out, more confidence so that I can go and do whatever it is that I envision myself doing. And today I want to talk about confidence with the team and with everybody because I find that self confidence is one of those things that everybody thinks they know what it is, but very few of us really understand it. And there are a lot of misconceptions around it, which I think make building our confidence in the right way difficult and tricky. So I would like to ask everybody so that we see the distinctions, right? And so that we can start putting ourselves on the same page. How do you define confidence? If somebody asked you, what is confidence? What would be your response? Who wants to start? Not everybody at once, because we all have ideas. Johnny, go.
I have my
Go,
hands
Johnny.
up. Okay. So, no, for me, confidence is the ability to express yourself without feeling judged or pressure. And not by your peers, by yourself, by your hardest judge. Because let's be honest, although we're looking always for approval from our peers and people that we love and trust, your worst enemy is the person in the mirror. So that's what I define it as confidence, when you can actually say and do things that you truly feel without feeling judged by yourself.
All right. Anybody else?
I would agree with that
Okay.
because I think the hardest thing really is the pressure you put on yourself, right? You talk about feeling confident, and confident is not feeling afraid because you can be confident and still be afraid, but really owning who you are, your knowledge base, and then being able to express that, being confident in that way. So, yeah, that was good, John.
Tori, what do you think?
Well, I really loved when John said we are our own worst enemy, and I know
Mhm.
for myself that is absolutely true. I'll doubt myself. I'll encourage everyone else, but when it comes to myself, I'm not as encouraging as I should be.
Can I just butt in on that one? That is
Sure.
so
Absolutely.
amazing that we're all have gone through the same path.
Mhm.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
people think when they see you from the outside, oh, he or she's never worried about. Like I remember one day talking to Christine in the meeting. She's like, I shake before I talk. I don't want to talk in front of people. But
No.
every time she did it before we had that conversation, I used to say, "Oh my gosh, she's so eloquent. She makes it so fun." I'm like, "Really?" Like, and then I was thinking, like, "Really, what you're telling me is true?" And yes, it's true. We all go through that whole like, "Okay, I'm nervous before talking to people. I'm nervous before I do something that is gonna put me in the spot."
Absolutely. Which leads me to my next question. And I'm going to give all my opinions in a second. I just want to hear you guys first. What does confidence look like then? How do you know when someone is confident?
Hmm.
Hmm.
That is a hard question because, like I said, I always thought of Christine as being super confident, very good in her own skin.
Hmm.
And truly, with me, I mean, the people that know me, they would say that I'm an overly confident guy on every single aspect. But before I had my shift, because I had a shift when I was around 14, 15, I was the shyest boy in the world. I would not talk to any other human being. I will not like I'm day and night from what I used to be.
Hmm.
And what got me out of my shell is that I wanted to feel confident. So I wore the confidence coat and until I actually became confident. So that's why I wouldn't be able to picture or display it in any way.
What do you think,
I
Christine? Is
don't think
there a
it's
way?
tangible, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell? I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily something. Maybe there. I'm sure there is some way to put it into words, but you can see when someone is confident. You can feel their aura. You can, and maybe some of the things are okay. Maybe they don't stutter when they speak, or they're not afraid to make eye contact. They approach you directly. Maybe those are signs of confidence, but I feel it's so intangible, but you can feel when someone is in the space with you and you know that they're confident. You can absolutely feel it.
All right.
Yes.
Tori, what do you think?
Well, when I look at the three of you, I mean, you guys just exude confidence for me. I mean, I'm like, I'm not worthy to be in this group. This
Oh, come
people. I
on.
mean, you guys do everything, and it just looks so smooth. But what I have found through my journey of trying to get confidence is that I've run across people who I think that they're confident, and then just like that conversation you had with Christine, John, where she's like, I shake before. It's one of these things. To me, that's really confidence right there, when someone in that moment can just share, yeah, no, I'm not confident, these are the things that I go through. And so it's just them being authentic. I'm like, now that's true confidence right there, where they feel that they can share shortcomings and not have to put on that mask or that appearance to do that.
But
Awesome.
confidence is a very expensive coin. You don't give it out to anybody.
Hmm.
And that's one thing that I appreciate from all of you, because every single time that I've had a talk with all of you, you've been so transparent and so open to show me your vulnerabilities. And I really appreciate and respect that from all of you. So all of you have been really, really brave and strong at being confident that whenever we're talking among each other or one-on-ones, you know that we are here to help bring each other into a better level.
Mhm.
So yeah.
That's so cool and so interesting. And I have one more question before I chime in a little bit more. If I were to ask you what is the opposite of being confident, what would you say?
Insecure.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
For
Oh, we
me,
have actually Edward Smith that wrote to us that says confidence equals self actualization. Sorry, I just noticed the message, Edward. And Marcy, what do you
Cool.
say?
Tori was going to say something. What would be your
the opposite of confidence. The words scattered and hot mess come to mind.
That's good.
What about you, Johnny? What would be the opposite of confident for you?
I would say what I was before, just hermit,
Shy?
shy,
A hermit.
very, very shy.
Okay. So, see, here's the interesting thing, and it was Edward who commented.
Yes, Edward Smith.
Self actualization. I like that answer too. But here's the interesting thing as a language expert, right? That's my background. It's in language and literature and all these things. I get a lot of insight as to what something is from what it's not, right? And when we define what it is not, we said things like insecure, a mess, shy, right? When we look at those words, then we understand that what we use confidence for is a catch all. It's like the word equivalent of a scapegoat, right? So anytime I'm struggling with something, it must be because I'm not confident. That is the easiest description or definition or explanation to attach to the moments in which we struggle. Do you see that connection? So I'm having a hard time. Yeah, let me finish this thought. I'm having a hard time figuring this out. It must be that I'm not confident. I am afraid to get on stage. It must be that I'm not confident. So it has become this catch all for anything that we struggle with. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was
I
gonna
see your
say,
wheels.
up to a point it is true because one thing that they used to teach us in the army that if you're leading somebody and as a leader you're not sure of what's gonna be the outcome, you're not gonna try to even try to have that overly confidence macho mentality and just jump for it because you have life spending on you. Same
Hmm.
thing when we're going through shooting school. When they teach us to breathe and then understand the rhythm of your gun, your rifle, and everything, uh, you can have all that theory and be on the range for a long time, but until you don't become confident that that bullet is going to hit the target, really doesn't happen. At least
Hmm.
through my experience.
So let me ask you this: what does it take for you to feel confident in doing those things?
Having the assurance or the faith in yourself that you're going to get it done no matter what.
So there we go, right? So here we are in the trajectory to understanding what the mess is that we have in our head with confidence, right? Because you're saying right now that you needed the confidence to perform that task, when in reality, if you had enough practice, right? So you knew that you could do it and you had enough faith in yourself, would you feel confident at that moment?
It starts building up, yes. You start building that confidence up.
Is it cutting
I
out?
think practice is key, right?
Hmm.
That repetition, that doing it over and over again builds the assurance or the knowledge base. Okay, I've done this once, I've done it twice, I've done it three times. Now some practicing, and then your confidence builds through that process of repetition or practice.
Okay.
Someone
So
else?
I'm just gonna keep going as we have a little bit. Remember, this is live. The internet does whatever it wants to do. But oh, there she is.
There you are.
Sorry, I think that's better. It's just my internet was cutting out. Yeah, no, but definitely, right? So there are different stages and elements that we can use to develop that feeling of confidence in ourselves, right? I am reminded, for example, of fire drills. Why do we conduct fire drills in schools and in businesses? So that it becomes second nature, right? So that we do it without having to think about it. And it comes to a point where you don't even worry about it. If the fire alarm goes off, you know exactly what to do, right? Think about the first time you drove versus driving now. I remember, I'll tell a little story, and Derek would be so proud of me because I'm going to tell a story. The first time I got behind a wheel to drive, my oldest brother decided that he was going to teach me. And I was doing okay, I was doing fine, but we lived at the top of a hill. So I'm driving up the hill, and my brother's like, okay, when you get to the top of the hill, you're going to turn, but make sure that you do it a certain. He gave me like the whole explanation, right? And I followed the explanation to a T, only it led me directly straight to a lamppost. I was about to hit this pole. I hit the brakes and I stopped like within 2 inches of hitting this pole, right? Needless to say, my brother never took me out driving again. They hired someone to teach me. But the point of the story is that that time I had no clue. I was lacking all the confidence I could possibly want. I lacked it. I can sit behind a wheel now. I can drive stick. I can eat while I drive the stick, and I can do all these things at once. And I'm very confident that I'm going to get to my destination, right? So confidence is not this essential prerequisite that we make it out to be. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Because all of us have done things without that so-called feeling of confidence, and we've been good. We've done it. We've done it well, right?
Hmm.
How about you? Have you had any experiences where you are doing something, you feel anything but confident, but you get to the other end and you do well and you're like, whoa, I did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Can you give
definitely.
me?
Absolutely.
And I think that that's the key. I mean, so many times we hold ourselves back saying, I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the confidence to do this. And so we just stop in our tracks. We never strive forward for that goal. And if we don't, we're never going to accomplish it. And, sometimes it's just taking a deep breath and just diving off and figuring it out on your way down. And for me, what's really boosted my confidence a lot is realizing no one really has it all together. Everyone has certain issues that they lack confidence in, and you just do it anyway and figure it out.
Absolutely. See, because
I
that's the
have this
thing.
thing I was gonna say I
Go
have
ahead.
this thing that I tell my kids all the time, and I tell myself, do it scared. Even if you're scared, do it. If you necessarily don't, all the parameters don't fit into place or all the pieces aren't working, do it. What is the worst that can happen? That you have to redo it? Okay, yeah, we don't want to do that. It's not what we want, but do it scared because you have to do it. Otherwise, you stay
Absolutely.
stuck, right? There's no growth, there's no movement, there's no progress. So do it
Absolutely. And
scared.
see, here's the thing, everybody, every single human being on the planet is confident at something, but nobody's confident at everything,
Yeah, it's impossible
right?
to be good. Yeah.
Right.
There you go. So when we start thinking that we have to be confident in order to start or in order to take the risk, I'm reminded of a quote by Rich Litvin, and he said, "Confidence is not a prerequisite; it's a result." Right? And I think that summarizes a lot of what Christine and Tori were saying. What we're looking for, that feeling, which is actually a feeling of certainty, right? It's not really a feeling of something elusive. It's certainty. It's knowing that we can do it. It's at the end of the day, I know I can either figure it out or find someone who can help me. I can do it. Right. And we can develop that feeling as we move forward, as we move along. Right.
Hmm.
So, when do you feel the most confident?
Okay, in total and brutal honesty, I
Yes.
feel the most confident after I have done the deed of whatever I was not confident. Because just like a
That's it.
minute ago we were talking about it, when we're diving, when we're jumping, we're like, dear Lord, I'm jumping into your territory. I'm holding on from faith. Just don't let me go. In in truly, I don't know if all of you have seen Barbara. I know I'm gonna butcher her name, but
It's
Barbara
true.
Corcoran from Shark
Okay.
Tank.
Mhm.
Yep. Years and years and years ago, before she became this huge figure, she gave a speech because she had a speaking business back then, and she gave a speech of how she started, and I love that. It's one of my favorite speeches about confidence. She explained that she didn't come from money, that she actually wanted to make it in the city in New York where everything is, 10 times harder. In order for her to sell luxury apartments, you have to look the part. And of course, she saw these places. She didn't have the money, and what she ended up doing is that she kept saving. She saw this red coat at a Macy's store. And by the way, none of this is paid advertisement. But I'm not telling you ladies to go and buy a red coat. You can ask for it, but no, don't buy it now. So the thing is that she went to the store. She saw this red coat that looked very luxurious and beautiful and everything, and she ended up buying it just because of the look and the confidence it brought into her. Not because she wasn't capable, just the confidence in the way the people saw her.
Mhm.
So every time she went to, and she tells that every time she went to an appointment, she will wear it. And that's how she became the lady with a red coat on the real estate. And sometimes your confidence, you can find it not only within yourself, but you can attach it to something else. That anchoring thing, like Tony Robinson's, is so, so important. Whatever you do, figure what gets you there.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any other thoughts right now before I go any further? So, when I was saying at the beginning that confidence has become a catch all, let's think about all the different things that we've talked about, right? So, we've talked about having courage. So, whenever we lack courage, it's easier to say, I don't have the confidence than to say, I'm scared or than to say, I'm not courageous enough, right? Self assurance, this belief and certainty in yourself that you have what it takes or you can figure out what it takes, right? Poise, people who appear poised, who show up elegantly dressed, or who show up in a room and they look like they can take over no matter what room it is. They're hard to ignore. That's poise, right? Eloquence, people who express themselves eloquently, we perceive as confident, right? So when we lack any of those other things, and I could go on and on, there's tons of things. Somebody who's very skilled at something, you see someone who is really good at dancing or really good at playing instruments or really good at art, and you see them doing their thing, they are the picture of confidence for us, right? So all of these other things that we aim for become in our verbiage and in our vocabulary in our everyday conversation this thing of I don't have the confidence that they have. But what we're looking at, what we are defining as confidence, is really all these other things. What do you think? Do you agree with that statement?
Mhm.
Yes.
Right. So is anything in what I just mentioned something that's out there that you cannot learn or create in yourself? That's the next question.
No.
No, right? So what are some things that we can do to move us past this space of I just don't have the confidence to getting to the space where we can exude or exhibit or show up as having these things? How about you? What are some tricks that maybe you have when you have to do something that you don't feel very confident in doing? What do you do?
I like to find people who actually appear or exude that thing that I'm lacking. Marcy, you mentioned eloquence, and so I've written down on a piece of paper, eloquence is something that I need to work on. So I want to find people who, when they're speaking, that everything just flows and they're just so poised in that. So I want to be around people like that and pick up tips and tricks, which is exactly why I love this group, because each one of us in this group has different qualities, and I think that that's why John got us all together, was because of that. And when I'm in this group with Christine and you, Marcy, and Derek and John and Nicole, I mean, I pick up something every single time. And for those of us that have, the live streams and the videos and the podcast, I mean, I go through and I watch these things and I'm like, ooh, that's such a good point. And I jot down notes. Ooh, John, that was profound. I can incorporate that somehow. So it's just about surrounding yourself with those people that you want to be like, and try to emulate them, not to copy, but to pick up tips and tricks and habits that they have that you can start incorporating into your own life.
Absolutely. Proximity is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any other cues or ideas? When you have to do something that you don't feel very confident doing, what are some things that get you through to the other side?
I practice it and I practice it and I practice it and I practice it. Just keep doing it over again. And then, listen, I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
What about you, John?
I'm a person
My
of
method
faith.
is
So listen, I will always put up a prayer and say, please don't let me make a fool of myself.
Yes. And Johnny, you were going to say?
My method is a little harsh,
Uh-huh.
but it works for me.
Absolutely.
Okay. The second that I want to achieve something and I don't feel confident, yes, I will do the research like Tori mentioned. Yes, I will practice. And then my last step, this is the harsh part. I ask myself, the first question is always going to be like, if somebody else was able to achieve it, why can't I do it?
Mm-hmm.
So that one helps me to get at least my foot in the door. And then the next one is I become friends with my worst enemy, meaning that I start asking myself the tough questions of, let's say, if my thing, because at one point my thing, believe it or not, was public speaking.
Hmm.
I was not able to
For most
even
people.
look up. I was horrible. I would get terrified to talk to people, not even in a public, just open setting. Like I
Hmm.
wouldn't have been able to do it. And my next question is like, what is the worst thing that could happen? And if that thing was to happen, what are my exits out of it? Okay, now that I have a few exits, okay, if it happens to go right, then do I know enough to not make myself look like I don't know what I'm doing? And then the last question is like, if I finally make it there, what should I do next? So I have those things, although it sounds funny and everything, it really
Nice.
puts me in a perspective that, okay, these questions would actually help me to get my mind right. Because, like I said, my first question, if somebody else did it, why can I not make it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few things that I think are important for us to remember when we're talking about this whole confidence issue, right? The first thing is, like most things in life, there are internal and external elements to it. And when we look at the external elements of confidence is how we are perceived. Yes? And there are things that we can do to be perceived certain ways. Like the example that John gave with Barbara Cochran, the appearance that she created helped shape the perception of other people. So I don't know about you guys, but I know me, when I put on makeup, do my hair, and put on a nice outfit, I feel differently,
Yes.
right? And I think that's true for most of us. So, one important thing is, how do I work with my own appearance, with the way I show up physically, that is going to shift and shape a little bit the perception of other people. And it sounds horrible, but isn't it true? We look at
It's true.
people, and based on their appearance we make a lot of arguments and conjectures and come to a lot of conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
Yes.
one thing we can do to shape that perception is, how are we showing up? And of course that depends on the environment. Yes. Like if I was going to go to a picnic at the beach and I showed up in a suit and tie, I would be perceived as less than intelligent or as trying to sell something right away or something like that. The perception would be skewed, right? So it depends. You have to know, and that we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But it's thinking about, on the external side, what can I do on my end so that, I mean, I can't control how other people perceive me. That's out of my control. But what can I do that is going to help me understand or feel like I've done the best in my power to promote a certain perception from others? Make sense?
Mhm.
And that has to do with the appearance. And it also has to do with the second thing we're going to talk about, which is your physical presence, right? So when we are like this, what perception does that give to other people? What does it promote in other people? If I just sit like this,
We're not confident. We're distant, disconnected.
right?
Right.
So the way we posture ourselves has a lot to do with how we're perceived. So, first thing I teach people, breathe in, shoulders back, chin up. That instantly changes how you're perceived and how you feel too. Because notice, when you're slouched like this, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And there's scientific reasons behind it that we don't have time to to get to, but the moment you push your shoulders back, chin up, and breathe in deeply, you're automatically changing the way you feel and the way you're seen. Yes.
Mm-hmm. May I get into that one just for one
Absolutely.
second? One of the things that when people come to the dance studio, let's be honest, people are extremely afraid of making themselves look like a fool, including me. Okay, and when they come to the studio, they believe that everybody there knows how to dance, and that they're the only one that does know how to dance. And that's the first thing that I tell them, just to let you know, everybody here is a beginner. They don't know how to dance. And sometimes that helps them. But the next thing that really does make a big change, and that's why I start my beginners with posture, with dancing posture, is because
Mhm.
that is part of our dancing posture. Shoulders back, relax, chin up, and that changes the dynamic completely. So, yes, it is absolutely true that that little bit of a shift can pay such huge dividends for your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And anybody have a guess as to the third way to change perception? So we already said your appearance, right? We said your poise. And the third one is your ability to listen. We are often so worried about what am I going to say? I don't want to sound stupid. What am I going to say that these people are going to think? The most powerful and impactful way to appear confident is to give other people a chance to speak and for you to listen. And you don't have to say anything. I mean, think about the people that have most impressed you in your life. Did they do most of the talking or most of the listening? Right? And even in sales, there's a saying the one who speaks the most loses.
I was gonna say we used to say that whoever's speaking the most is giving control because they're giving you all the information that you need to know in order for you to close that sale.
Absolutely. There's two variations of that saying, right? Whoever speaking the most loses, and whoever says the last thing is gonna lose, right? So you need to clamp it, be quiet, listen. If you say anything, ask questions. And that is going to give the other person the perception that you're so sure of yourself, you don't need to sell yourself. Just your presence is enough, right? And then just to stop talking, because I'm talking too much and I don't want to lose. I'm kidding.
This game is no longer fun. Please talk, people.
There's a formula for the internal part of confidence. You want to know the formula?
Yes.
It's three simple
Yes.
C's: competence, consistency, and commitment. Competence, consistency, and commitment. Confidence is very issue specific, task specific, right? Like I said before, we're all confident at something, nobody's confident at everything. So when you have the skill, the competence behind whatever it is that you're doing, you feel more confident, don't you?
Mhm.
Like I'm sure when John is dealing with websites or on the dance floor teaching someone the moves, he's not thinking about whether he's confident or not. He knows he is because he knows the skills, he knows what he's doing, right? When
Mhm.
Christine is working on her field and doing numbers for businesses and going over audits and telling them what they need to improve, do you feel confident?
Yes.
Right? When Tori is
Yes.
going over her work and the things that she does, which she is amazing at,
Yes.
she feels confident. And what makes the difference there?
Knowing your skill, right? That's the
Mhm.
Absolutely, knowing your skill. So that is the first piece, competence. So whatever it is that you're looking to feel more confident around, see what skills you can improve, what skills you can learn, what skills you can hone that have to do with that thing that you want to feel more confident on, and find someone to mentor you through them, find someone to coach you through them, go read a book, go learn the skill. And the more that you feel competent in that skill, the more confidence you're going to experience. Make sense?
Mhm.
yes.
And the second thing is consistency, which speaks to the practice that Christine was talking about before, right? When you are prepared, when you have practiced and practiced and practiced to the point where it becomes second nature, do you have to stop and worry about not being confident?
No.
No, right? Because now you know, you have evidence, you have proof that you can do it. And that's what your brain looks for. And then the final one is commitment. If you are determined that you're going to do something, even if you're scared, even if you're not completely sure, even if you know it's going to take a couple of tries, Are you going to confidently move forward because you're committed to doing it? Right?
Mhm.
My biggest example of that is giving birth. Sorry, John, I don't know that you can relate to that one. But once the baby's there, it has to come out,
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
So
Yes.
if you're committed, it's gonna happen one way or another, whether you like it or not, whether you have any idea of how or whether you can make sense of it or not, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Hmm.
And that's the commitment piece. So when you have those three things inside of you, right? The competence, the consistency, and the commitment, you can't help but bring in that confident feeling.
Yep.
Yes.
Any other ideas, thoughts, questions?
I was gonna say one thing, based on what you were saying, that you have to figure out what are your skills, where you're good at, so you can improve. Figure out what you want to improve, and that is also one thing that is really important for me to mention, because you can truly become whatever you want. So if you're not at the level that you optimally want to get,
Mm-hmm.
once you do your checks of balances of where you at personally on your skill set, your next thing is, like Marcy said, find a mentor, because don't let anybody sell you short that you
Yep.
cannot achieve that dream because XYZ or your personality or whatever, whatever, whatever. Don't. All those things can be altered if you have what Marcy mentioned at the end. If you have the consistency. In Spanish, we say la constancia alcanza lo que la dicha no alcanza.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just paraphrase because I don't know how to say how
Doesn't
to.
translate well to English.
Yeah, it doesn't translate
No.
well, but it says that perseverance lets you achieve things that you would have never even dreamed of, even if you were already on the path of getting it. But because you were not even trying, you're not gonna get there.
Yeah.
So be persistent. Like a lot of people when in the army, they asked me this once, and I was, of course, young, naive, and stupid. And they're like, "So what's stronger, a little drop of water or a stone?" And of course, young, stupid, the stone. And the guy's like, "No, my drill sergeant, no. If that drop of water, it's constant, because the drop of water is not harsh, it's not, but if that drop of water keeps going, it's gonna get to a point that it's gonna make a hole through that rock.
Mm-hmm.
So consistency will get you to what you need. Same thing with your confidence. Keep trying it. Keep trying it. Marcy mentioned a couple of things a minute ago. I don't know if you heard some of the other lives that I've had were doing about relationships. And most men fail miserably because they don't take the shot. And the only way to take the shot is to keep trying it. You will figure it out. Or you may be lucky that you may find somebody that you're going to click with right away. There's always somebody that have the same mental issues that you have. I know that.
Yeah, no, and now that you're mentioning that, there's an important thing to remember and to really point out and highlight for everybody, right? And it's that even if you feel completely confident going into a scenario, which there's no 100% confidence anyway, I think we established that, right? But even if you feel really, really confident going into a scenario, that feeling doesn't guarantee that everything is going to go smoothly and beautifully.
Mhm.
Right.
It doesn't. So if you're waiting to feel confident thinking that that is going to guarantee that you're going to emerge on the other side unscathed, I'm sorry to be the one to break the bad news to you, but that's not the way it works. Because actually, those stumbles and those falls and those hard times, guess what? They build even more confidence eventually if you look at them as opportunities for practice, preparation, and growth, right? So there is no such thing as saying, okay, because I achieved X level of confidence, which confidence, again, is not even really what you're looking for, then I'm going to go smoothly into whatever it is that I'm working towards and not have any issues whatsoever. Not going to happen. and shouldn't happen, because then there wouldn't be any growth, right?
Mhm.
And then the other element of that is some people think, well, if I was extroverted instead of introverted, or if I was more outgoing and less instead of shy, or if I had X personality instead of Y, I would get further. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with understanding where you want to get to, what skills do you need to hone, get the help to get there, be consistent, and be committed to the destination. Has nothing to do with anything else.
And another thing that maybe a lot of people don't think about it like this, but I do, because I get to learn from other people when I do that, is when you're talking about confidence, think about it as money in your pocket. What do I mean by that? And I'm gonna ask this question to Christine because she's our bookkeeper,
Really? You're gonna ask
and
me
she
that
can
question?
help me. She can help us balance this sheet.
I don't know.
What happens when a business or a person doesn't have the money to achieve what they want? What do people do when you don't have the money?
Go out and get the money. I don't know.
Right? You
Credit,
go and get the
credit.
money.
Go
You
get
get a credit, right?
it. Yes.
And how do you work your confidence as credit? How
You
do you
borrow it
use
from
that?
someone else.
What was that?
Are you faking it till you make it? Is that what we're talking about?
No, no, no.
No, you borrow your confidence from someone else.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for example, why why do I bring all of you together? Exactly what Tori said. All of you have a specific skill set that it makes everything work.
Hmm.
I don't have it all. So I borrow the confidence and the peace of mind that each of you are professionals and love what you do. So I'm borrowing my confidence. That's why I know that everything's gonna keep growing. And I'm borrowing that confidence from all of you.
Okay.
And
There's a
you're at the same
That's
time
good.
depositing your trust that I will be looking out for all of you.
yeah.
So you see, it's a two-way street, but a lot of people don't use confidence as a currency.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a great story. I believe it was. I always get the person wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Henry Ford, but he was being questioned by people about his. Yeah, it was Ford. His car
Newspaper.
company and everything that he needed to do for his car company, and they were asking him all these technical questions, and he just kept saying, "I don't know." But he was very confidently facing the questions, just saying, "I don't know." I don't know. Finally, somebody confronted him and said, how do you run the most successful car company in the world when you don't know the last thing about putting a car together? And he said, just hand me a phone and I can get you the person who knows. I don't need to have all the answers. I don't need to have all the strength. I just need to know who does, right? And so that's what Johnny's talking about. We don't need at any given time to know all the answers, to have all the confidence in every skill set. We just need to be surrounded by the people who can support us in the process, and we can borrow that confidence from.
Mhm. And not only that, you become stronger as a person. You will become a very valuable asset to anybody because let's be honest, if a company comes up to me and tells me, "Hey, I need a coach. I need somebody from XYZ expertise." Of course, I don't have it. I don't have that expertise. Guess who I'm going to look for? The person that already I know they have it because they have already shown me that they have that knowledge. And that confidence is going to transmute into friendships, relationships, growth opportunities, learning opportunities. You know, nowadays, because of social media and TV, we believe that happiness is what Instagram shows you. But back then, when there was none of the social media, if you read some of the books from or biographies from other people, famous people that were very powerful, like Henry Ford, Dale Carnegie, um, what's the other one? The one that had the coal. Trying to remember their names.
Andrew Carnegie.
No, Andrew Carnegie had the steel.
Oh, right.
Uh, but
Anyway, I know who you're talking about.
but okay, Rockefellers.
Yes.
Rockefeller.
Rockefellers. all these people, if you look at their biographies, and they all agree that their biggest wealth was not the money, was the people that they had around them.
Yep.
The reason why they were able to become so successful and strong and confident individuals is because, I don't remember whose quote it is, but I think it was Abraham Lincoln's, is that they sat on the shoulders of giants.
Giants, yeah.
Because I do see all of you as people that I look after. I Although you believe that I'm your leader, I do look up to you in each one of your own fields. You're amazing individuals and amazing professionals. So
Well,
that's the one part that I want to bring to your attention. You're intrinsical. I cannot change you for anybody.
Awesome. So, any last thoughts on anything that we've talked about today? I think that we covered a lot when it comes to building confidence. And whatever situation you're facing, whether it is talking to a prospect, signing up for a deal, trying to negotiate a raise with your boss, trying to negotiate date night with your spouse, or trying to ask someone out, whatever the situation might be, if you apply these things that we talked about today, and you understand that it's not about the confidence, right? It's about how do you show up, what is your intention, which we didn't really get to, but and just being committed to the outcome, then you will get a lot farther, a lot
Mhm.
faster.
Agreed.
Yes. You
So,
mentioned my sweet spot, the intention. That's my thing, right? Because that's my company, right? I'm Intention Enterprises. And I know I tell people all the time that if your intentions plus your actions will always produce some, I call it magic, it's progress, right? So if you
Yeah,
have those things all working together for you, your intention, your actions, you will come out on the other side with something positive. You will make progress in any area that it is you're looking to be in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
mhm. So one thing that because Marcy is being so humble and not mentioning, but she has an event coming up. It's a 4-day event starting Monday, July the 10th at 11 a.m. It is a live event. So here's the link for it.
Yes.
Is this event free? Is there any cost for the event?
It's completely free. It's 4 days and it's called Finish Strong. Experience unprecedented year end success in 4 days. So, in 4 days, we're going to identify your real destination where you really want to get to, the things that have gotten in the way, how to remove them, and we're going to set a plan to get you moving in the right direction so that the last 6 months of the year are the best 6 months you've experienced yet. So, go register. Time is now.live/register.
There we go. So no excuses why you're not actually thriving or not actually growing, or if you don't know it, why you're not learning. Because a lot of people say, well, going to school is expensive. Books are expensive. Okay?
the
So right
library
now
is
here,
free.
come again?
I said the library is free. There's always
That is true.
resources out there to
Yeah,
help you.
there you go. And this is free. There was a president, I don't remember which president, that somebody was complaining to him that that learning is expensive. I think it was Benjamin Franklin. Uh, and the guy, and he said to the person that was telling him that learning is expensive, is like,
Ignorance is more
try,
expensive.
yeah, it's a lot more expensive. You just haven't figured the price yet.
Yes.
So take advantage of this, because every little bit of knowledge that you get in your brain, it may not click on right away, but when it does, it will make an exponentially change in your mindset. So take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
And anybody else wants to add anything? No?
No, this was great, Marcy. I mean,
Thank you.
really, this was really a good event because having explaining to us really where, not necessarily where confidence comes from, but what we're mistaking it for, or what we're mistaking the lack of confidence to be. Uh, it was extremely helpful for me personally. It was extremely,
Good. I'm glad.
yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you.
And that's the beauty of having an expert in the group on each one of the fields, because they can guide us. And I cannot wait to hear what you're coming up with next, Christine. So,
Yes.
because you're not to put you
I'm
in the spot.
next up. We're gonna help you build your emergency fund at the next thing.
There we go.
There
I know
you
Tori
go.
has
Good.
guests coming up on the very next one, right?
The
The
30th.
31st,
The 21st. So
31st.
31st.
31st. Sorry. So we have a lot of great things coming up. So if you're watching this live, if you're watching this after because the live is about to end, mark the dates. We show up every 2 weeks. And besides that, to everyone, tomorrow's 4th of July. Enjoy with your families. God bless you all.
Stay safe.
Thank you and
Stay
have an
safe.
awesome day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.